G'day legends. So, it was an amazing weekend for combat sports. If you were an American and you were able to stay up and watch like the European combat sports in the afternoon and then go on into the night to watch the UFC, you were absolutely winning this weekend, okay? Look, the UFC might be a little bit dead right now. We're not quite getting the announcements that we wanted, but combat sports in general was killing it, right? The boxing fight was amazing. The BKFC fight night was amazing. Eddie Hall was amazing as well. You know, a bit of back of the head shots, but that was amazing as well. It was a sick weekend overall for combat sports, but this is a MMA channel, so we are going to be talking about the UFC fight night. Now, I'm not going to cover every single fight on the card, just the ones that really stood out to me the most. But firstly, overall, I would give this fight night card a solid 8 out of 10. A solid 8 out of 10. The main event gave us everything that we want. I absolutely loved the main event. They gave us absolutely everything that we wanted. But the stream that we had during it was a solid 10 out of 10. That was an absolute classic of a stream. So thank you to everyone who joined me for the entire stream. Thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate it. That was an amazing stream. So let's get right back. Let's get right into it right from the start. Yeah, Jocelyn Edwards versus Chelsea Chandler. And Chelsea Chandler actually stood there and fought for once. And she stood there and she fought like a man and she got KO'd. But I just want to say to Chelsea Chandler, because we don't often cover WMMA on this channel, what a legend. What a legend for actually standing there and putting yourself into the fight. Not just falling to her knees and crawling away like the post-main event fight Ian Garry. We'll talk about that later. Don't you worry about that. But well done to Chelsea Chandler and well done to Jocelyn Edwards. The next one after that was Timmy Kutalaba, who KO'd Roberto Romero. Now, was it early? Yeah. What I really took away from that after like watching some BKFC so much recently and then going back to watching the UFC, that stoppage never would have happened in the BKFC. There's no chance they would have allowed that to happen. If there are still signs of life in the BKFC, they are still going hard at each other. I pray that more people don't start watching the BKFC because then we might start seeing stoppages like that one. The flying knee was sick. The flying knee was sick, but I would have liked to have seen what would have gone on a little bit more with the ground and pound if he was able to actually get the knee and sort of push himself into him, and that way actually slowed the ground and pound down. That would have been good to see, but then after that was a heartbreaking one. A heartbreaking one, man. Wellmaker slept Simon. Slept him, dude. It's over. Cameron Simon is going to be deleted from the roster. It sucks because, like, he's a nice kid. Like, obviously, I'm a fan of MMA. I'm clearly a fan of MMA YouTube. So I got to see Cameron Simon invite over MMA Guru, and I got to learn about Cameron Simon more and more through him and Guru's friendship. And the kid is just a nice kid. Like, Simon is a great kid, and you could tell that he really cares about MMA. He got slept, man. He got slept, and I do feel like they're going to be letting him go after that. You know, that's 3 in a row now for Cameron Simon. I'm pretty sure that's 3 in a row off the top of my head. They're going to be letting him go. Hopefully, he has a good career as Cayman salesman. You know, maybe he can turn into a salesman and do that as a job, or maybe he can be a cameraman for the UFC, as the chat was saying. Cameraman Simon, something like that. But as for Wellmaker, dude, it's a flashy knockout from Wellmaker, and he was actually able to do something that I get so annoyed at when I don't see fighters do this. When they actually get the microphone, and they're on ESPN, and it's time for them to have a moment, Wellmaker had his moment, and he was good on the microphone. So that is a prospect there that we can actually watch. Flashy KOs, knows how to talk on the microphone. We're on here. We're on here. So we had to sacrifice Simon, but at least we got something on the end from it. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't just get a boring wrestler on the other side of it. At least we don't have Simon, but at least we have a fun, flashy striker. So that's something at least, right? Moving on down the card, we had Damon Blackshear versus Antel Helagai. Anteligale. I can't pronounce that name. It's a good fight. It was a good fight. Like, the first one that went to a decision. It was a good fight, but it's hard to, like, stand out so much when we had so many great takeaways from such an awesome fight night. Just because that fight was a decision doesn't mean it was a boring decision like Abbas Magomedov, who we will also get to. And that's not just on Abbas. That's on Mikhail Pereira as well. So we'll work our way down to that. So then after that one, we had Evan Elder versus Gage Young. And what I loved about this fight was Evan Elder's work to the body. The work to the body was phenomenal. The boxing combinations that we were seeing, the way that Young was able to hang with him and not quite be put away throughout the entire fight, but we just got to see Elder just essentially school him with the body work was beautiful to see. And now you got Elder here, right? He's 28 years old. He's 10-2 he's 10-2 now. He's 10-2 in the lightweight division. That is something to get buzzed about. Like, lightweight is this old division with a dying off old roster. Chandler's going to be gone. Dariush is going to be gone. Oliveira's only got so many fights left in him. Gaethje has said on his next fight he's out. So we need a lot of movement down at lightweight. We need the roughies to come up, the Bahamundases to come up. I am praying for Fiziev in that fight, but I don't know about it. But this is what I'm saying. We need like some more fun prospects to get ourselves at lightweight and to get ourselves moving. And to watch crisp boxing like that, really cool to see. Really cool to see. So I'm on board the Elder train. After that one was Matt Schnell and Jimmy Flick. This was an entertaining fight. It was an entertaining fight. It wasn't what we expected though, right? You'd expect Matt Schnell to stand and bang and to maybe get knocked out, or for Jimmy Flick to take him down and submit him, which is sort of the way that the fight was looking like it was going to get going until Schnell started to throw in some grappling, which we don't really get to see from Schnell that often. And it was actually turned out that he handles himself really well in the grappling. Really, really well. So that was cool to see Schnell go for sub-attempts, be able to get out of sub-attempts, and for someone who enjoys good, keen-eyed, fun grappling with lots of playful transitions in MMA. This is the thing, right? Like, grappling in MMA can get so boring when it's just holding someone against the cage or holding someone in one position and you're not really going for a finish, when it's almost like one person is outweighed by the other one. But when you have a fairly even grappling matchup, like say a Jose Aldo versus a Movsar Evloev, that turns into a really fun scramble fest to see on the ground. And I think what was such a surprising takeaway from it is I didn't expect to see Matt Schnell do that well. I didn't expect Matt Schnell to do that well in the grappling. So to see that play out over the entire fight was actually like surprisingly good. After that one was Alisker Aliskerov, Robert Whittaker's son. Did his thing. He's back. Got the knockout. He's back. That's great. Moving on after that one was Brown versus Dalby. Now, this one is one to slow down and get excited about. Nicholas Dalby tonight is drinking in the halls of the Vikings. He is with Odin tonight. Broken nose in the first round. Does it slow him down? Not even a little bit. Almost act like he doesn't care how badly broken his nose is. And his nose looks worse than JDM's nose. It was disgustingly pushed in. The way that they were able to put it back together between the first and the second round was just a beautiful, beautiful job to the cut there. And then, he's clearly getting outstruck. But he is all guts in the second round. And this is when he gets sent to Sovngarde. This is when he is drinking in the halls of the companions, right? He gets, essentially, what we see is a Fight Night Temu version of UFC 300 all over again. It is the Max Holloway play-by-play again. Randy Rude Boy Brown just fucking sleeps him. Devastating. And I have seen now clips. I can't show the clips because it's MMA YouTube. You know what's going to happen. The UFC is just going to pull this completely if I show the clips. But you can line up UFC 300, Max Holloway knocking out Justin Gaethje, and Rude Boy Brown knocking out Nicholas Dalby, and they look exactly the same. The way their heads hit the canvas, except with Dalby, his nose is broken, so when he hits the canvas, just blood fucking splatters everywhere. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's one of those moments where, like, if I was going to set up an office with a Hall of Fame of framed moments, I'd have Dustin Poirier winning the interim belt or the blood coming out of Dustin's nose. I'd have Colby Covington getting his jaw cracked in half. This is one of those ones that might be a smaller portrait that goes on the wall, but it is one of those moments where I got up off my chair and we just started screaming. The entire live chat was up in arms because the Apex card 2 weeks ago, the lowest of the lows. It makes you feel like you don't even want to watch the UFC anymore. You sit there finishing that Apex card and you feel like your eyeballs have just been assaulted. Something horrible has happened to your soul from wasting your time for watching a card like that for 6 hours. But then you see fights like this. You see fights like this at a crowded arena, and it just reminds you of how good MMA can be. This was one of those fights where if I was a young man again, and this was the first MMA fight I had ever seen, this is one of those fights that would make me instantly fall in love with the sport. So, Dalby, enjoy those drinks up there with Odin, bro. Enjoy those drinks. And Randy Brown, just well done, dude. Well done. Amazing performance, mate. Amazing performance. After that, After that was Magomed Ankalaev. Bloody, what's the names? Abus Magomedov. After that was Abus Magomedov versus Mihail Pereira. Mihail Pereira comes walking down to the octagon, doing an "you're not like us" dance off. And then literally proceeds, I think if you look at the stats, you will find he might have thrown less than 7 strikes or something in the first round. He dances down to the cage, man, and throws nothing in the first round. Nothing in the first round. Close to nothing in the second round. This is something that is happening in the sport that we can talk about when we get to the post-main event as well, the after-main event, the one more fight, the postscript fight that happened between Ian Garry and Carlos Prates. I think these fighters, and Ilia Topuria has said this, where he might try and get another clip of Alexander Volkanovski if he ever fought Volk again. They are thinking about highlights and how to look cool on TikTok rather than just fucking fighting. Like, just getting on with the fucking fight. Mihail Pereira honestly seems like someone who just goes to the gym and then wants to be an MMA fighter because it sounds like it's a cool job to have. If the dude can't get out some weird spinning, flippy kick that he knows is going to get him a bunch of clicks online, the dude isn't even fucking trying at all. I like, that's what it felt like to me. And then for Abus Magomedov, he's not got a gas tank to be a fighter. He has not got the gas tank. Like, I respect these guys so much for getting in there and having a go. I do. I really do. Like, it's very easy for some bloke to just sit here at his desk chair and criticize these guys. So I understand the irony of it all. I really do. But he just gasses. He just constantly gasses. And it's not like Pereira is putting on this massive fight coming back at you. Like, essentially, what Abus did was follow a heavy bag around for 15 minutes, and he couldn't do it. How are you going to do that in a 25-minute fight? I don't understand how these athletes don't have half an hour of gas in them when it's your job to have half an hour of gas in you, and then you can go for a 15-minute fight. Like, it is your sole job is to be ready for these next 15 minutes, and you can't do it. I don't understand it. After that one was David Onama versus Giga Chikadze. Very controversial fight. I'm going to have to rewatch it. Very controversial fight. People are raging that Chikadze didn't win that fight on damage-based scoring. I think the problem is how we write or interpret the rules, because the rules are so open to interpretation. I feel like Onama won that fight, and I was saying to my chat, don't be surprised if you see a 30-27 go to Onama. I could already hear people raging about it in the comments. But I said to my chat, don't be surprised if you hear a 30-27 for Onama. Because he did just enough to win each of the rounds, I feel like. Especially when you read the scorecards and it says if the striking looks even, then you go to plan B, which is the grappling and the ground control. But not only that, Onama did do a little bit of ground and pound towards the end of round 3. So Onama was having moments, right? Onama's having moments in the fight. So I wasn't surprised that he won, but I wouldn't have been surprised if it was a 30-27. Here's the problem though, right? I am watching this fight while talking to my live stream at the same time. So it's one of those fights where it's incredibly close and you need to be paying a lot of attention to judge it properly. And I wasn't judging it properly, but I was getting a lot of feedback that I was a fucking idiot and I was judging it wrong, which is fair enough because I didn't watch it that closely. So I'm going to have to go back and check that one out, but I am not surprised that Onama got the win from what I saw while watching a fight like this and then checking out chat and watching a fight like this and then checking out chat. I wasn't surprised that Onama got the win, and I wouldn't have been surprised if it was the 30-27. Just saying. Sorry if he ruined some parlays. Sorry. Right. Then we got to the main event. Zhang versus Anthony Smith. The main event. This was the main event for all of us. Don't pretend that it wasn't. Anthony Smith's walkout took like 15 minutes, it feels like. He was bloody loving the walkout. And we saw everything you want to see from an Anthony Smith fight. Before I really tear him down, again, Anthony, thank you so much for your years of service in the UFC. Thank you so much for your years of service in the UFC. And you made it to title contention against John Jones. That is something to be thoroughly proud of. It's just... he copes. He's known for coping. We all know that he copes. Anthony Smith copes about his losses. He coped in this fight. It was so good to see. And when it comes to this long, drawn-out ceremony of this is Anthony Smith's last fight, Anderson Silva didn't get a send-off like this. Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight the UFC has ever seen, got a pat on the back and a well done from Dana White. It's just the send-offs that we choose to give fighters is so bizarre. Like Anthony Smith, in the last 5 years, has been the middest of the mid. And the fact that his name is Lionheart is the joke that we all make. So Anthony Smith comes in after this big old walk down, gets into a fight, an Anthony Smith fight, where he does just charge forward with his hands up and tries to get wrist control. That's an Anthony Smith fight. And then when that doesn't work, I swear to God, we get the Anthony Smith bingo card, right? When that doesn't work, he hits the floor, curls up into the fetal position. We saw it. Gets the shit beaten out of him. Which we saw, which is just great. Gets the shit beaten out of him. Gets angry at the crowd for laughing at him for getting the shit beaten out of him, which we all knew was going to fucking happen. Then he tries to get into a fight in the crowd. And then on the post fight, on the microphone, he goes, 5 years ago, I would have won that fight. So he copes at the end as well. Oh, and he says, I did it for my family. So you get the whole Anthony Smith experience spectrum wrapped up in one little thing. And then for some reason we hear an entire Jelly Bean song over the highlights of Anthony Smith's career, which were all from the Reebok era and early. This is when you know, right? This is when you know. Like when you have a fighter and all of their highlights are from the Reebok era and earlier, now you know, right? We're in a real we're in a real, the immortal territory. And that's where we are with Anthony Smith. And then he's walking out of the cage crying and the arena's going nuts. And I'm just sitting here like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Celebrating this mid-fighter's send-off. He has gotten one of the best send-offs. Only Smith and Robbie Lawler have had send-offs like this grand. Like, think about the Korean Zombie, yeah, who had quite a successful career. Same thing, fought for a title, didn't end up winning it, but had a very successful career, and then went on to be fairly good. The Korean Zombie had the crowd singing, which was I loved the Korean Zombie's retirement. Loved it. Like, nearly brought a tear to my eye. It was wonderful to watch. But we did it in his hometown, and the crowd sent him off, and we just had a big old sing-along. Anthony Smith, it feels like it was the main event. That's why I'm calling it the main event, because the main event was dog shit. Anthony Smith, again, Stipe Miocic is just sitting there with his hands in his knees, and Dana's like, that was a good fight, thanks. And Stipe's like, leave me alone, Dana. It's just weird, man. It's weird the athletes that we choose to celebrate and the athletes that we choose to just forget and get left into the abyss, like Anderson Silva. It's bizarre. It's bizarre to me. Bizarre. All right. So that was the main event, which is great. Now, the post-main event. Ian Garry. I don't blame Ian Garry for the fight. I don't. It does fill me with rage still. I had to walk out of the room watching the Ian Garry fight. Okay. Ian Garry is a good fighter. I said it. Okay? Alright? You fucking dog. Ian Garry's a good fighter. He is. He has great fight IQ. When he's in there against a striker and he's losing against MVP, he'll grapple. When he's in there against a striker and he's winning, he'll stay at range and pop shots and throw single legs to confuse. Ian Garry is a great fighter. Ian Garry takes fights on short notice. Well done to Ian Garry. And I don't blame Ian Garry for actually being a fighter with fight IQ, because I can't go on to say what I'm going to say and then give Ian Garry shit for having fight IQ, from knowing when to stay at range and just win the fight. He's already started bragging on MMA Twitter. He's already started bragging. And he has somehow, through sheer fucking willpower, gotten Dana White to confirm that he indeed will be the backup for the JDM fight. I just don't like Ian Garry's personality, but there's so much to take away here positively that other fighters need to learn from. Ian Garry has made himself hated in the MMA community, and you and I, the fans, have to click on it and watch because we want to see him get slept. Ian Garry, through just sheer persistence, has made himself available to be the backup fighter. Well done. Unlike fighters like Imavov, who don't want to take on Caio Borralho. They don't want to push forward. They don't want to work with the UFC, so the UFC doesn't want to do them favors. So Ian Garry, he's talked shit. He's got people to watch him. He's then, through sheer fucking willpower, made himself the backup fighter. And when he's in the cage, he doesn't fight like an absolute idiot. There's so much to learn there from young fighters. So well done to him. Caio Borralho is rage-inducing. Rage-inducing. Because either he doesn't want to gas himself out, so he doesn't push too hard, but then he ends up just letting the fight peel away from him. And if you don't want to gas yourself out, that means you've got to jump on the moments when they're presented to you. And there were moments in rounds 4 and rounds 5 where he could have fucking done something. Anything to try and win the fight. But instead, he chooses to either walk towards Ian Garry with his hands down and not go for the kill, or allow Ian Garry to scramble away on his knees like the soul of Chelsea Chandler was knocked out and put into Ian Garry. He's on his knees, crawling away, and you're letting him. You're letting him. You're down. Every round. And he is hurt on his knees, and you are letting him crawl away. TikTok is ruining fighters. They would rather look cool and be cool than be fighters. We are in a TikTok era of the UFC where they are clip farming. They're so focused on looking cool that they are losing sight of the fucking goal, which is knock that prick out. Fuck Carlos Prates. Fuck him. Fuck Carlos Prates. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. You got Ian Garry standing there, back to the cage, and you're just looking at him with your hands down. I don't get this Nate Diaz mentality. You've got Leon Edwards wobbled, and instead you go, ha ha, gotcha. Carlos Prates versus Randy Brown. Randy Brown, sleep him. Sleep him. Are they in the same? They are. Sleep him, Brown. End him. Anyway. Well done to Ian Garry. He's made himself the backup fighter. You got to give respect. You got to. When a fighter just sheer willpowers their way to victory like this, this is a fan channel. I don't have to be a fan of Ian Garry, but I got to respect him. So, well done, Ian Garry. But that's it. If this is your first time here, g'day, welcome. My name is Dougie. I make an MMA video every day of the week, Monday through Friday, and I try and go live at least 3 times a week. So if you want to know when all of that happens, hit that subscription button down there. If you want to know when I go live, hit that notification bell down there. Let me leave a comment. Leave a comment down there. What do you think is next for Ian Garry? Who cares? We've already know. That's not a good one. Well, just leave a comment. Let me know what you think about all that down there in the comments. How did you like it? What did you rate Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates out of 10? And what is your favorite Anthony Smith moment? Put that down there in the comments. What else am I meant to do here? Oh, and if you're one of the paying members of the channel, thank you so much. You're bloody legends, and your names are up on the next slide. Until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.